Beach County, and welcome to the Board of County Commissioners zoning hearing of Thursday, October 24th, 2023. And Madam Clerk, if we could have the roll call, please.
Commissioner Barnett?
Here.
Commissioner Baxter?
Here.
Commissioner Bernard?
Here.
Vice Mayor Marino?
Here.
Mayor Sacks?
Thank you.
Here. Commissioner Wise?
Here.
Commissioner Woodward?
Here.
Thank you.
I'd like to ask Commissioner Michael Barnett to lead us in the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear God, we are meeting today to conduct matters of business for our community. Guide our hearts and our minds in the spirit of fairness. Impart your wisdom upon our activities so that our affairs may reach a successful conclusion. Thank you for being our source of guidance today. Amen.
Amen. All right, good morning, everybody. If we could have, we have notice?
Yes.
Very good, thank you. And do we have proof of publication?
We do have proof of publication.
Good.
Madam
And
Mayor,
since this-
motion to approve, motion to receive and file proof of publication.
Thank you very much. We have a first, Commissioner Bernard. We have a second from Commissioner Weiss. All those for. Anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Very good. And since it's a zoning hearing, we'd like to have the attorney swear in those who will be testifying today.
All those wishing to testify on today's quasi-judicial items, please rise and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? I do. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and if I could have, going on to the agenda, we have the consent agenda. Is anybody, oh, we have the agenda approval. If I could have a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor, would you like me to go through the delete?
Yes, I would, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we do have a few items on our amendments to the agenda. Item number 1, for DOA 2024-407 Katz Yeshiva High School, we have a modification to Exhibit C1 as it relates to engineering condition 5 and 6. Then we have a 9, and then there's a modification to amend Exhibit C2, where we're deleting engineering condition 5 and 6, and we have new condition 1 and 2. On the regular agenda, item number 4, PDD DOA 2024-581 Whitworth AGR, there is a modification to our title and staff recommendation. We're recommending approval, and then we have some modifications to the recommendation to include a cash out amount included in D, as well as the other D title, an amendment to engineering condition 8 in Exhibit C2, and that would be it.
Mayor, I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Very good, and I have a second from Commissioner Woodward. All those for, anybody opposed, see that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Now I think we're ready to go on to the consent agenda. Does anybody wish to pull any matters from the consent agenda as amended? Seeing none,
No, we need to do disclosures.
going to do disclosures. I got you both on either side. Okay, we're going to do disclosures at this time. We're going to start with our own Commissioner, Sarah Baxter.
Thank you, Mayor. I do not have any disclosures for the consent agenda.
Very good, and Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. No disclosures for the consent agenda.
Commissioner Weiss?
On consent agenda item 1, my staff spoke with Lauren McClellan, and we received email on that item, and I have nothing else.
Very good. Commissioner Woodward?
No disclosures.
And Commissioner Barnett?
Thank you, Mayor. On item number 1, no verbal communication. We have had correspondence that has been submitted to the clerk. No site visit. Item number 2, no verbal communication. We've had correspondence, again, submitted to the clerk. No site visit. Item number 3, no verbal communication. We've received correspondence that has been submitted to the clerk, and no site visit.
Thank you, sir. Vice Mayor Marino?
No disclosures on consent.
Very good. And from the mayor's office, consent agenda item number 1, verbal communications with Jennifer Morton. Receive and file the emails with the clerk of the court. Very good. I think that will take care of the disclosures at this time. No one wishes to pull anything. I think we already have a first and a second. So, we'll take a vote now. All those approving?
She needs to know who's the first and the second.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bernard, what are we going to do when you're not here?
I'm going to be gone.
Yeah. Well, before you be gone, you're going to be here now, so that's good. And all those 4, anybody opposed? See that it passes unanimously, 7-0. Very good. Now, we are ready to get on to the regular agenda, which is found on page 4. And these are the zoning applications, and we're going to start with number 4. So
Yes.
I'd love to hear a staff report.
So item number 4, PDD DOA 2024-581 is the Whitworth AGR PUD. We have 4 requests before the board for a decision, and we will turn it over to the applicant for a presentation, and then staff can do a presentation after.
Very good, thank you. And who's here on behalf of the applicant? Good morning, sir. State your name.
Good morning. Madam Commissioner, Madam Mayor, Madam Vice Mayor, Commissioners, my name is Kevin Rattery, Vice President with GL Homes. As part of the presentation team this morning, I have Brian Seymour from the law firm of Gunster, as well as Brian Kelly, who's the Senior Transportation Engineer with the firm Simmons & White. Before you this morning is the Whitworth DOA. For purposes of locating the property, this is a development order amendment to the area in red on the map on your screen. It is located on the west side of Lyons Road, south of Boynton Beach Boulevard, north of Flavor Picked Road. The areas in yellow surrounding the red are the existing 60/40 AGR PUDs of Valencia Reserve on the west side of Lyons. And then on the east side of Lyons, Canyon Lakes, Canyon Isles, Canyon Springs, Canyon Trails, Valencia Cove, Valencia Bay, and Valencia Sound. And directly north of Valencia Sound is a county-owned property commonly referred to as the York site. South of the area in red are lands that were part of the required preservation area, or the 60% as we call it, for the Valencia Grand PUD in red. That same graphic, you will now see that part of that area that was in dark green is now shown in purple. That is part of the development order amendment, is to take that land out of preservation and convert it to a new development parcel, which we are referring to as Whitworth South. That is 167 acres of property. In order to unpreserve that property, we have to do 2 things. Number 1, we have to replace on an acre for acre basis every acre of land that's taken out of preservation, and then upon its conversion to a development parcel, we have to preserve 1.5 acres of land for each acre of development. That is why the petition before you has 417 acres of new AGR PUD preservation, which is the 1-for-1, and then the 1.5-to-1 conversion. If you're asking or think that this hasn't been done before, it has been done before. In fact, on this graphic alone, the communities of Valencia Cove and Valencia Bay were at one time, Canyon Trails, were at one time preservation parcels for Canyon Lakes, Canyon Isles, and Canyon Springs. So we have converted preservation lands to development before. Again, we are rezoning 417 acres of ag reserve land to ag reserve PUD preservation to accommodate the new development area. We are doing a development order amendment to add land area to the master plan, add units, and to add an access point to modify conditions of approval. If approved today, it would result in an additional 481 units to the overall PUD for a total of 1,140 units. The 659 units that are part of the existing approved PUD is Valencia Grand. Valencia Grand is an adult restricted community. It is basically sold out. It's about halfway through the construction process, and this amendment will allow construction of a new Valencia type project south of it. We also have a request before the board to do a cash out of the 3.36 acre public civic site, which I'll get into a detail a little bit later on. This is the master plan. The area that's in blue or bounded in blue is the development area of the original PUD known as Whitworth or Whitworth North. That is the Valencia Grand project. And the area that is bounded in green is the new Whitworth South development parcel wherein we are proposing the 481 units. So the record's clear. These are two separate and distinct developments. Whitworth North, Valencia Grand will be its own development, and Whitworth South will be its own development. They each have their own access, their own recreation amenities. They each are doing all of their required amenities on site. This is the master plan for Valencia Grand. There are no changes to that master plan. We are simply dealing with this master plan for the property to the south known as Whitworth South. The one thing I will note for the commission's benefit is on that site, on the very western side, you will see denoted a 2.88 acre public civic site. That site is still proposed to be dedicated to Palm Beach County. It was in that window or period of time where we didn't know whether the county was doing civic site dedication cash outs or wasn't doing them. We went ahead and site planned around it. We sold to all of our buyers that that would be a public civic site. So to try to retroactively cash that out, it's just not possible at this point in time. So that is still proposed and will be dedicated to the county as a public civic site. This is an aerial of the Whitworth South. The important thing to note of this aerial is the Lyons Road access for this community lines up with Maliar Palm Drive, which is the primary access for Canyon Springs. That's important because it opens up the opportunity for signalization, which is something that the Canyon Springs community has been after for a long period of time. The two projects' traffics get combined because they're sharing the same intersection, and we are conditioned by development order condition of approval to fund that signal in the event it's determined warranted by the county. This is just the master plan of the Whitworth South property. In order to do this, that 417 acres of new preservation consist of 37 preservation parcels. They are all located within the agricultural reserve area of the county. They all meet the standards for preservation for use of the property. The overall PUD is 1,140 gross acres. And just so everybody sees the 60-40 calculation at the very bottom, I don't think can I point with this? Oh yeah, I can, thanks. I should have been pointing the whole time, I'm sorry. On the right-hand side, you will see the gross, or the net acreage of the overall PUD, and the preserve required of 682 acres, which is the 60% preservation, and the 40%, 455 acres of development area. With regard to the proposed cash out of the 3.36 acre public civic site, as a reminder to the board, back in August 28th, there was a discussion before the board regarding public civic sites. The direction to staff was for staff to do an analysis as to whether or not the county needed that public civic site. In the event that the county determined it wasn't needed, the petitioner could request that the civic site be cashed out. At that meeting, the board specifically gave direction to staff to provide an updated appraisal of the site, which wasn't really the old policy. The old policy was if it was within 2 years of when the cash out was requested, you used the purchase price of the property, but the board specifically wanted an updated appraisal, so we provided the updated appraisal, and we have also factored in the cost of providing the infrastructure improvements to that civic site if it would have been dedicated to the county to the overall cash out price. Your staff is recommending approval of that. So I'm going to turn it over to Brian to talk about Lyons Road. I know what the public comment's going to be, so I figured we'd go ahead and use the beginning of the presentation to kind of address some of the legal issues that will come up associated with it, and then we'll reserve time for rebuttal if we need it. Thank you. Brian? Huh?
I couldn't print.
Okay.
I don't know how to print, so I have to look at my computer. Thank you, Kevin. For the record, Brian Seymour with the law firm of Gunster. I always appreciate it when the AICPs actually say, we have a legal issue, can you talk about the legal issue? So Kevin and his certification kept it in his lane, and I appreciate that. The reason, as Kevin said, is we're going to talk about this is Lyons Road. It's come up, it's going to come up. So I'm going to talk about Florida law. This is not your law. This is not your code. This is not in your comp plan. This is handed down from the legislature. And it specifically relates to traffic and what happens when there's an existing roadway deficiency and what you can and cannot do. I know it's very exciting to hear from a lawyer talk about statutory law, but I will try to be brief so you all stay awake today. First is Section 163-3185H, which sets forth the requirements about when a local government, like you, implement traffic and currency systems, what you are required to do. That's the must that is there. So all of this is a requirement from the Florida legislature. So if in subsection 5H2B, it provides that if a road is determined to be transportation deficient without the project under review, whoops, other way. Oh, I take it back. That is the right one. Should have practiced. The necessary transportation improvements to correct that deficiency shall be considered to be in place. So if there's a deficient roadway, you are required to consider it as though the deficiency is fixed by the roadway. So next, it talks about what else happens. When the provisions of subparagraph 1 and 2C, so that's 5H, this is in 5H2C, have been satisfied for a particular stage of development. This is a single stage. So once transportation has been satisfied with concurrency, all of the impacts for which mitigation was required are deemed fully mitigated in the analysis. So what does all that mean? Well, I can't tell you without talking about what does a deficiency mean. So a deficiency is specifically defined in the statute. Again, not something we get to choose. It is what it is. What it says is it's a facility, in this case, or facilities in some cases, on which the adopted level of service standard is exceeded by existing committed and vested trips, plus background trips from a source other than the project. So if all of that happens and Lyons Road is deficient, that makes this law apply. So what that means in this circumstance is that because you have an existing deficiency, the Florida legislature has told you you can't consider it. You may want to. It may be a concern for people, but the legislature has said you can't do that. It's not whether the road widening project is completed, whether it's going to be completed in a certain time, or whether it even would ever be completed. And obviously we know it will be, but that's not the point. It's just not allowed by law to be considered. Again, Florida law, I understand that that's not what you all want sometimes or like, but that's the circumstance we're in this particular issue with regard to Lyons Road. That's the law, but it also means what are the facts. And so for the actual facts, Brian Kelly, who's a traffic engineer with Simmons & White, will follow me. He spells his name with a Y, I with an I. That's how you can tell us apart. Otherwise, we're very similar.
A little bit shorter. For the record, For the record, Brian Kelly, I'm a senior traffic engineer with Simmons & White. Briefly, regarding my bio, let's make sure I can use this correctly. I have 17 years of traffic engineering experience. I received my license as a professional engineer in the state of Florida back in 2012. This is ballpark, but I've probably done well over 200 traffic impact studies in Palm Beach County. So because of that, I am very, very familiar with the Palm Beach County Unified Land Development Code, Article 12, which we call the Traffic Performance Standards, and I'm also familiar with the Florida State Statutes, Chapter 163. So traffic comes up a lot at these commission meetings and frankly other places as well. So it's probably worthwhile to spend a couple minutes talking about what's in a traffic study, what that methodology is. You just heard me refer to the Unified Land Development Code, the Traffic Performance Standard. The methodology and procedure that we're required to do is outlined in there. So what that means is myself as a traffic engineer or another traffic engineer can't just choose some random methodology to do. We actually have to do what your code says for us to do. And I like to break it up into 3 layers to kind of conceptually understand it. The first layer is we look at what the existing traffic counts are. So what are the trips, the vehicles on the roadway today? Now that data, for the most part, almost always comes from Palm Beach County. You guys do, your staff does a great job of collecting data and having traffic volumes available on roadways and intersections. That's layer 1. The secondary layer is what we call background traffic vested trips. What that consists of kind of 2 stages. The first thing is historical growth rate. We look at what are the volumes been, how are the volumes been increasing in the particular area, but then what we call approved but unbuilt project trips, and it means just what it sounds. So you have a development that's approved, but it hasn't been built yet. So we know there's going to be traffic on the roadway network from that project, but it just hasn't happened yet. So we factor both those existing conditions and background conditions into our traffic analysis. At that point, we take a look at the roadway network, the adopted level of service standards, and said, are there any roadway deficiencies caused at this point? Finally, we do the third layer, which is add in the project traffic. In this case, the Whitworth South project traffic we generate trips for it, project it onto the roadway network, and then we see, is there any new roadway deficiencies caused by this Whitworth South or this new development project? So what are the conclusions? What are the results? For this particular traffic study, there was background roadway deficiencies identified, which includes Lion Road, that's been discussed. Importantly, Whitworth South does not create any new roadway deficiency. So when we layer on the traffic of Whitworth South, there is no new deficiency created. Just from a context perspective on how much trips Whitworth South is, it only represents about 4% of the capacity that's created by the widening of Lions Road from 2 lanes to 4 lanes. So it's a relatively small amount. Since no new deficiencies are created, the project meets traffic concurrency pursuant to Florida statutes. Another important fact is projects cannot be certified, and this project is. It's certified through your staff unless traffic meets the requirements of Palm Beach County Code and comprehensive plan. I'm going to go through Lions Road a little bit here. I'm going to go through these charts real quick, and then I'll kind of talk about it briefly. So what's on the chart right here may be a little bit hard to see, but this is the 5-year road program from 2022, mid-year. What you can see is the Lions Road from Boynton to Flavor Pick. That section, construction was scheduled at this time for fiscal year 2023. This next slide is also a 5-year work program. This is the current one, and what you'll see is that same section of roadway is scheduled for 2024. So it was moved back a year between those times. So here's a little bit of the history of that Lions Road as far as it being in the 5-year work program. Construction funding for it actually began or first appeared in this in your work program back in December 18th of 2028, and it was always at that time scheduled for 2023. And it was moved to 2024 right after that first slide that I showed you of the 5-year work program. So the December 20th, 2022 adoption, that's when it moved to the fiscal year 2024, and that's where it currently is. So where does that get us today? So here is the update that I have based on, and certainly you can discuss your staff, but the recent update from when we've spoken to Palm Beach County Roadway as far as what the timing of those improvements are. The final plans are expected in February 2025, out to bid in June of 2025, and the notice to proceed for construction of February of 2026. and construction will last about a year to a year and a half. This is based on our conversations with Palm Beach County Roadway. That concludes my presentation. I can answer any questions afterwards, but I'm going to turn it over to Kevin, I think, who wants to wrap up. Thank you.
Thank you for giving us the time to get that on the record. So I'm going to conclude with this. The petition that's before you has been determined by your professional staff to be consistent with the Palm Beach County Comprehensive Plan. The petition that's before you has been determined by your professional staff to meet the requirements of the Palm Beach County Unified Land Development Code. The petition that's before you went to the Zoning Commission earlier this month and was unanimously recommended for approval. We would appreciate the Commission considering all the factors that we put into our presentation today, and we're here to answer any questions you may have regarding the petition, both myself and the professionals that presented. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Okay, let's have a staff report. Good morning.
Good morning, Mayor. Good morning, Commissioners. This is, for the record, this is Iman Haddad with the Zoning Division to present item 4, PDD DOA 2024-581. Thank you. Sorry about that. All right, so sorry about that. So the site is located, as the applicant has mentioned, west side of Lyons Road, approximately a mile south of Boynton Beach Boulevard, within the Agricultural Reserve AGR Future Land Use Designation and the Ag Reserve AGR Zoning District, as well as the AGR Planned Unit Development AGR PUD Zoning District. The site is a total of 1,440.0.3 total acres. And the applicant is asking for 4 requests. The first one is the official zoning map amendment to allow for a rezoning. Let's see if that works. It does not. For the rezoning from the Agricultural Reserve AGR Zoning District to the Agricultural Reserve Planned Unit Development AGR PUD on 417 acres. As previously explained, those are the acres intended for development. And a development order amendment to modify the overall master plan to add a land area of 417.52 acres to the previously approved 722.51 acres to the AGR PUD. They're going to add units, they're going to add access points, and they're going to modify conditions of approval on the 1,140.03 acres. The area in red is what was previously approved. There's 659 units on it. The area in green is the proposed addition with 481 units. The site plan, the overall site plan that was, or master plan that was provided shows 9 residential units and 2 civic pods units. One of the civic pods is part of the request for the cash out. The proposal will add 417.52 acres of development area. This is meeting the calculations for the 60/40. They are providing 60% of preserve area on 37 preserved parcels with a total of 682.502 acres, and then the net acreage of the development area, which is the 40%, comes to, they're required the 451.001. That's exactly what they're providing. Staff finds that they meet this requirement. Staff did analyze the request based on the ULDC requirements in 2B.7. A full analysis is provided in the staff report. They meet policy 1.5.1 of the Land Use Development Code for the preserve area. The applicant, during the analysis of this project, we did receive 4 calls from constituents in the area. The questions included general questions about the application, and some questions were about the cash out for the Civic Pod. And those questions were answered by staff. The application was heard by the zoning commission. It was a consent item, and it was approved by a motion of 5-0. Staff is recommending approval based on the conditions of approval in Exhibits C1 and C2, and we are here to answer any questions if the mayor and commissioners request it.
I think they want you to have a seat. Samara, do you have anything else that you'd like to add?
No, I think this pretty much covers all of the issues on this application.
Okay. I have a couple. Do we have any cards? Oh, I see. Oh, you sent me a note. 2 cards on this item. Okay, Commissioner Weiss, why don't you go ahead and read the cards? Okay, let's do the disclosures. And this time, we're going to start with Commissioner Barnett.
Thank you, Mayor. For item number 4, I've had verbal communications with Cliff Hertz, Kevin Rattery, and I'm almost positive Dagmar Bras. Correspondence that has been submitted to the clerk and no site visit.
Very good, thank you. Commissioner Woodward.
Yes, on item number 4, I had verbal communications with Cliff Hertz and Kevin Rattery and email correspondence that had been filed.
Very good. Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you, Mayor. I had verbal communications with Kevin Rattery and Cliff Hertz and received email correspondence that's been filed with the clerk.
Very good. And Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. On item 4, I've had verbal communications with Clifford Hertz, Dick Norwalk, Kevin Rattery, and Dr. Andre Fladell, and I've received correspondence and no site visits. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. For item number 4, I've received an email which have been filed with the clerk, and I've spoken with Larry Portnoy, Kevin Rattery, Cliff Hertz, and no site visit.
Thank you very much. And the Vice Mayor.
Thank you. I had verbal communications with Cliff Hertz and Kevin Rattery and email correspondence which has been filed with the clerk.
Thank you. From the Mayor's office, we've had email communications with Richard Silva, Alan Goldstein. Receive and file those emails with the clerk. Have virtual meeting communications with and a conference call with Barbara Roth, Debbie Murphy, Dagmar Bras, and receive and file an Outlook calendar. And I've had meeting communications with Cliff Hertz, Larry Portnoy, Outlook calendar in January of 2023. Meeting communications with Kevin Rattier in September of 2021, and that's in the Outlook calendar. Meeting communications with Dr. Andre Fladell, Ashley Gaffolio, Steve Wallace, Craig Dittman, Steve Rappaport, Debbie Murphy, Neil Schiller, Beth Rappaport from 2021. And I think that completes our communications. Now, what I'd like to do is have some of those cards read, if we could. Commissioner Weiss.
Yes. Drew Martin, followed by Dagmar Bras.
Good morning. Take your time.
I call this an environmental injury because it's from riding a bicycle for 20 years. That was rusty because I was too cheap to buy a new bike. So it's partially self-inflicted.
We got to get you a new bike.
Drew Martin, I'm here on behalf of the Sierra Club, Loxahatchee Group. And I noticed Alex came in. I hope she's going to put a card in on this too. I think this is the most amazing thing because we're completely against it. This was viable agricultural land. It was in preserve. It was preserved because of other developments, and now they want to change that. And I'm sure that the land they preserve today, 5 years from now or less, they'll be back, and that land will come out of preservation for another development. And And what'll happen? We won't have agricultural land. There was a show from the Farmland Trust yesterday or the day before. They said that we have lost agricultural land equal to 7 states, including Florida. That's the entire acreage, square mile acreage of those states. Now, the question is, do we need more development? And is it good for this area? Now, we had a traffic engineer. I always think of traffic engineers as being kind of like Mr. Magoo, and they forgot their glasses when they went out because they always say, oh, there's no traffic problem. We're going to add 400 homes, but there's no traffic problem. Now you have a law from the legislature that basically says, even if there is a traffic problem, even if 10 people are going to die or more because of this, you can't consider it. So your hands are tied. I hope when Senator Bernard begins his tenure that he'll remember us in Palm Beach County. We should have power, which we have none, in the legislature so that they do not overcome our ability to make our own decisions. So we're against this. By the way, when they showed the picture, I want you to note that it's good agricultural land, and it will never be agricultural land again. And I know the Whitworth family didn't want to farm this. I know that, but they're not the only people in the world that can farm land. So why, just because their family doesn't want to farm it, which is fine, nobody has to do something they don't want to do, why not let somebody else have it? Why turn it into homes? This will be a traffic problem. There is no way this is not going to, I don't care how much the applicants, very fine people, I'm sure they're very nice looking, fine people that make great statements, can tell you there's still going to be a traffic problem. So thank you for letting me speak, and I look forward to speaking on the next issue. Bye now.
Thank you, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Dagmar. Today I'm representing Cobra because Barbara is out of town. When we first heard about, well, originally we were really pretty excited that Whitworth was going to finally be developed, but the majority of the property was going to be saved as a conservation preservation easement. And Cobra is very well aware of the development and the demand, not the need, the demand in the area for this kind of housing. GL has done an amazing job, and we're very pleased with what they have built. We were surprised and somewhat taken aback, but this ties into the swap not going through as well, that they decided, and with the success of Valencia Grand, I'm sure GL, their people decided this would be a good idea. To put homes on this property. The people that live up and down Lyons Road obviously were the most upset about it. We did discuss it. GL did give us a presentation before our growth management and our board, and there was a lot of discussion about, oh, let's not say this is okay because of the traffic on Lyons Road. But at the end of the day, we can't say that. We did have conversations with Kevin and Ryan, and they made it very clear that they did already give their funding that was required for this project towards the roads, and that basically, their hands are clean, and I guess your hands are tied. I'm very surprised to hear that Mr. Kelly says there is no traffic problem, because if you drive up and down there at certain times of days, it is a big nightmare. But at the end of the day, GL did abide by all the rules. They have 37 parcels that they had to put together in order to get the necessary conservation easements to make this development happen. And due to that, we're not thrilled with the county, and we're not thrilled with the roads in place. And, I understand, this is a legislative issue and whatnot, but something needs to be done. And I don't know, we're going to have Palm Beach County Day coming up at the beginning of the year. If we can kickstart something, because I know every district commissioner has a sore area in their district that needs help with the roads. We need to either slow down the development, or we need to find a way to build roads quicker. But at the end of the day, Cobra's annoyed with the traffic, but we do support the project. Thank you.
Ms. Braza, I have a question for you. I've known you for many years, and you're very, very smart in this area. Did did GL explain to you that they are going to fund the construction of the widening of Lyons Road? I thought that's what you said, and I want to make sure.
No, they said that they gave their a proportionate share of what was needed. In their original documentation, they did say they would not start construction before the road was finished, but that was amended very quickly when they realized the mistake that they had put in the staff report.
Well, I'm sorry, I wasn't privy to that conversation. Did they, so they said that they were not going to start until the road was completely, and then they changed that, or?
Those words never came out of Kevin's mouth.
Okay,
Okay,
interesting.
they never said that they were going to complete the construction of the 4-laning of Lyons Road. Cobra just wanted, and we sent a letter to the commission.
I didn't
We
get
said-
that letter. I'm sorry, I know you had mentioned it, but I didn't,
Oh.
we get anybody else get, y'all got letters? I asked my staff, we didn't get that
Basically,
letter. Okay.
the comment was, we do support the project, but we would like the project to be put on hold until the 4-laning of Lyons Road is complete up to Flavor Pick Road from Boynton Beach Boulevard, okay? As they state,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not, I'm not saying you're wrong, I mean, of course you're not wrong, you make the big bucks, but
No,
they
could be
don't
wrong.
need to do anything. They basically have met their requirements as far as making sure that everything is in place, and now Mr. Kelly says there's not even a problem, so.
So there's no money coming in for the,
Oh, no, no,
Why?
no, I
They
believe the
said that-
GL has already put money in.
you can,
towards-
okay, we'll ask that question later, but that's
Okay.
that's what they told you.
They made it perfectly clear that they were not obligated to 4-lane Lyons Road before they put in Phase 2 of the Whitworth
Okay.
property south.
Okay, thank you.
Okay?
Thank you, Ms. Price. Okay. And Ms. Larson, I think you have I know, yes, we're going to get to that in a minute. Did you put in a card? Okay. You can come on and speak. Make sure we get your card right after you speak.
I'll rewrite another one for you
No,
if
it's
you
okay,
need
it's
me.
all right, just go right ahead.
Commissioners, you want to swear me in? I was late, so I just.
Good idea.
Do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I don't want anybody to have any question. But anyway, when I was reading the backup for this last night, just on Tuesday, we were dealing with conservation easements and the belief that we can hold on to a conservation easement. And that's not happening. We're changing them around. And it is true, Drew was right, everybody's right about what they said, because the builders just keep building. It's like locusts. That's what I attribute builders to. Sorry, I don't like building. I'll say it out loud. I don't care. It's too much, too much. And we need more, more, more. What are we accommodating, commissioners, except a lot of traffic? And then the roads aren't getting built, and something legislatively, we do proportionate share instead of people building roads when they're necessary. Oddly, on the West Coast, 30 years ago, they built the roads before they needed them. It was weird. I'd see roads getting built when I was driving over there in Naples. I'm like, there's nothing out there. Well, they didn't build anything for 30 years. It was amazing. And I'm like, maybe they were ahead of the game, and maybe we need to go study engineering or something, because this one, 37 conservation easements, they're little, commissioners. It's not even a big space. This thing's going from 700 acres to 1,140 acres. I mean, they keep coming back. That's what it is. It's like, this is a vampire that won't die. You know, we need something. Holy water, I don't know, flames, but we need to stop. I've said it 100 times up here. We need a moratorium on building right now because we don't know what we're dealing with. Your next item is flooding. And this is something that we dealt with. Boynton Beach flooded terrible after they built the hospital, and we had to come and fix it. South Florida Water Management, not you, commissioners, but we have some really big issues in this county on roads. And when you're driving a Toyota through 4 feet of water, it just doesn't work. Luckily, I drive a truck, so I don't mind. But really, please start looking at this and the conservation easements, because we need to keep them, and they don't need to be in Martin County when we transfer land and things, because we're doing that. So thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Is Mr. Ricks, David Ricks? I know you didn't anticipate coming up, but I have a couple of questions for you. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mayor, Board of Commissioners, and Ms. Baker.
I'm sorry, say it again?
I said, good morning, Mayor.
Okay,
Board
good,
of
yeah.
Commissioners,
Okay.
and Ms. Baker.
Thank you. Could you state your name, which you already have, and your position with the county?
I'm David Ricks, County Engineer, Director of Engineering, Public Works Department.
And sir, have you worked on road construction and widening of Lyons Road from Clintmore Road to Boynton Beach
Yes, ma'am.
Boulevard? Okay. And approximately how much, if you can tell us, approximately how much have we spent on widening of Lyons Road from Clintmore Road to Boynton Beach Boulevard, sir? If you can.
Off the top of my head, it's about $10 to $15 million.
Okay. Has it been completed satisfactory to engineering, county?
Still got some work pending to finish that up, but the intersection on Atlantic and Lyons is basically done. We still got some minor work at the intersection, and Silver Pick is all done. So that's where we're at today, ma'am.
Did we have some reorder, work orders that we had to give more appropriations to?
Yes, ma'am.
Change orders, sir?
Yes, ma'am.
Can you briefly explain? I think that was just the other day.
Yeah, so we, the board approved a change order for Flavor Pick. We had some issues with the pathway because the developer had basically made some changes to the pathway after the drawings were done. And so the contractor, once the contractor got awarded, he went out there and said, hey, this is some additional work need to be done. County, what do you want to do? We wanted to complete the project. This was additional work, and we had to basically compensate the contractor in order to finish that project.
Do you recall how much money that cost the county?
About $150,000, $160,000.
And did we have to wait for FDOT to finish some of their projects on Lyons Road before it was suitable for safety of the residents?
Actually, we had to make a modification to the Lyons Atlantic Road project because DOT was doing work on Lyons, on Atlantic, and so we had to change the work along the Atlantic/Lyons intersection to expand where we put the new signal poles, and that cost some extra money and extra time with that project.
Is that project done with FDOT on Atlantic Avenue, sir?
No, ma'am. Actually, they're going to be starting construction in the next couple of months to widen from State Road 7 through on Atlantic Avenue from State Road 7 east of Lyons Road.
So in other words, when FDOT is going to start the widening of Atlantic Avenue, which meets up with a very important intersection of Atlantic Avenue and Lyons Road.
Yes, ma'am.
And when are they going to start?
The contract's already been awarded, Mayor, and they're expected to start here in the next couple of months.
And do you know when it will be completed?
It's probably going to be 12 to 18 months before they finish that project.
From 441 to Atlantic Avenue?
That is correct.
And that goes all the way to the Turnpike?
I think it doesn't go to the Turnpike, but it's a little west of the Turnpike.
Okay. I know you got your light on. I just want to finish this little train of thought. Are there streetlights from FP&L that extend from on Lyons Road, sir?
We actually got an agreement with FP&L to actually light from Clintmore all the way north of Atlantic Avenue. About $32,000 extra cost that we paid to FP&L. They got it under design and we expect to have the work completed by March, April 2025.
So right now, Lyons Road is pretty active and there are no streetlights.
That's correct. Okay. There's some, but there's not enough for considering the widening of that road.
Thank you. Commissioner Baxter, did you want to have some questions? Sure, go
Mr.
right
Ricks,
ahead.
if that's
Right
okay.
ahead.
Mr. Ricks, when is this portion of Lyons Road next to this neighborhood, I guess, would you say approximately, when will it be completed?
Well, just like the consultant indicated, it's under design. We expect to basically have the design done probably basically this coming spring, and then go out to bid summer 2025, and then get the project presented to the board for approval, and then starting construction soon right after that. So you're talking sometime calendar year 2026 to finish that project. It's about $21 million project, so it's a huge project.
And where's the start and finish of that section that's $21? Is that from Atlantic to,
No, it's from Flavor Pick. From
from
Flavor
Flavor
Pick
Pick to?
to Boynton Beach Boulevard.
And you're saying that it will be completed in calendar year '26?
Well, that is our goal. So if we start, sometime in '25, it's about a 12 to 18 months project. So we're looking, 12 to 18 months to finish our project. It'd be late 2026 if we stay on schedule.
Mr. Ricks, I won't burden this particular project or this hearing with this, but this is a bigger problem we've been having throughout the county for a while, and it's roads, and we can't keep pointing the finger and saying somebody else is responsible for them. We have to find a better way to prioritize or get these roads put in and work together to do this, because yes, it's already deficient. So to the point, Florida statute says we can't do anything about that. We can't hold builders accountable. We need to start taking some accountability here and get these roads done so that our residents are not suffering. So I appreciate the hard work you do and the efforts you put in, but I think this is going to require a larger conversation on how we move forward so we don't keep hitting this problem. So I thank you for that. I just wanted to ask when this is slated, because 2 years from now, or a little over 2 years, end of '26, that just seems a long time. And I'm not sure when this project will be completed, but it's just going to add 400 new units to an already deficient road. Which maybe by our traffic concurrency standards isn't a problem, but if I was a resident there, it'd be a problem. So, thank you.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Marino, you're recognized.
Thank you. Mr. Maher, can you take us through?
Hold on, can I excuse Mr. Ricks?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Ricks.
Don't go away.
Oh, no, I'm back here.
Okay, thanks, Mr. Ricks.
Can you take us through the process of from today to when there will actually be a shovel in the ground and how long that will take?
When we come to one of our monthly zoning meetings, this is a public hearing application, and if the item is approved, then we go through what is called off the board or final DRO, and that's a site plan approval process that's going to take anywhere from 2 to 4 to even 6 months, unfortunately. I wish we were a little faster, but then they'll have to go through platting, they'll have to pull their building permits. What am I missing?
So the master plan will be finalized after the board, then they'll submit subdivision plans to the zoning division. GL typically does them concurrently, so they'll do the subdivision and the plat concurrently. They don't have to, but if it's concurrent, then they run together about 6, I don't know how long they typically take for platting.
Yeah, 4 to 6 months per residential subdivision until the time that they submit the application for technical compliance, until the land development permit is actually issued, which allows them to go out and start constructing the infrastructure.
Yeah.
So in a perfect world, when is a shovel going in the ground? 2 years?
A year.
More than 2 years? Less than 2 years?
I would guess they probably would have an idea, but the land development permit, the first one, I would guess probably July, August of next year. I mean, if everything runs very fluid.
I guess my point is that, we're talking about the improvement of Lyons Road. From what Mr. Kelly said, when Mr. Kelly, and this is an assumption on my part, so Mr. Kelly, you can clear this up for me. What you were saying, what you were indicating with this development not having an impact on Lyons Road was when Lyons Road was complete. Is that correct? Because I'd like to clear up how that came out and how we received it.
Yeah, I apologize. I never said it never had an impact on Lyons Road, so if that was construed, I apologize. What I did go over was that there's a background deficiency not caused by our project. And then I went over essentially the percentage of impact our project had in relative to the overall capacity of Lyons Road. And that was just to provide some additional context, where I said the additional 2 lanes, our project traffic represents about 4% of that. If you're looking at the overall 4 lanes, our project impacts about a little over 2% of what that overall capacity is. But I apologize if that came out somehow, but I don't believe I ever said it had no impact on Lyons Road, so I'm sorry.
That's about it. Thanks for clearing that up. So basically, thank you, Mr. Kelly, you can sit down. So basically, when we get a shovel in the ground and we start building, it's going to be actually concurrent with how the road is getting improved, and the first person moving in may be a year and a half from now. So the impact to Lyons Road in its current state will not have that much impact. That's what I'm saying. That was a long-winded way of saying we still need to improve the roads. We still need to improve the roads in Palm Beach County. Commissioner Baxter has it right. There's lots of roads in our county that need improvement. But I think with how this project sits and with the legal position laid out by Mr. Seymour, GL Homes is doing everything they're supposed to do, and we don't have the right up here to say no. So there's no other lights on.
Mine is. This is my district. I'll wait till you're finished.
No,
Vice Mayor.
I am good. I will let you take it away.
Thank you. I hear over and over again the statement that we don't have any discretion. That's a done deal. Check all the boxes and that's what you get. You get a development. That's not true. If it were true, this government would be a lot thinner and a lot less people would be sitting here. You wouldn't need staff because all they have to do is be a computer and check the boxes. Boxes are checked, the development can go in. You wouldn't need commissioners. We would have no authority, no discretion. And I think that this is an argument that needs to be discussed and certainly needs to be addressed on these issues. Otherwise, every developer can take any development they want on any land that was previously in the late 1990s said to be for agriculture. But that's not what we were voted here to do. We were voted here to have discretion and hopefully some commissioners' wisdom. Is this the right thing to do? Is this the right thing to do at this time? It may be the right thing to do a couple of years from now, but is it the right thing to do today? We have a crisis of traffic in this county, and it's north, south, east, and west. We have to do something about it. We can't build more roads out of it because that doesn't work. What we have to do is we have to be 21st century forward-thinking developers here, the seven of us. And we have to be engineers. And we have to be forward-thinking. What we need are communities with connectivity. We are a county, and I've learned this more and more from the Business Development Board and from just listening to young families. More and more people are coming here from states like California. And they're coming here, or Texas, or Tennessee, because of our beautiful tax situation, and because we have land. And we have land that they can use for connectivity, so that they can ride a bike to go from their home to get a cup of coffee, to go from their office to walk, to have lunch. We don't have that in my district right now in this area on Lyons Road. When these folks move into this beautiful community that this great developer, and they're good, wants to develop, they're going to get in their car and they're going to drive on Lyons Road, and that's the only way that they can get their barbershop, their hair done, get a manicure, and I'm talking Long Island now, okay? You get a cup of coffee. We can't do this, we can't continue to do this. You all do what you want, but I'm telling you right now, we, in this dais, we have discretion. And Commissioner Weiss, you're shaking your head no. So I'm gonna let you speak. I'm gonna let you speak on this because I'm gonna say this, after 10 years in the legislature, and I was there when we made that law, if that was the point where we would tell county and city governments, you have no discretion. The developer comes and checks every box, and if it's going to over a burden on already deficient highway, you can't do anything about it. Then we don't need to be here. All I need is a little box in front of my name. Saks, they've checked every box, you got to give it to them. And I hope that other developers hear this, because if that's going to be the rule of thumb, you might as well get out there. We had 20,000 acres of agricultural land when this started in the 90s. I'm not going to tell you how many we have left. But if I have no discretion and I have no wisdom to say, let's just take a pause here. Let's not start developing all of this at one time. We have a deficient road already. Let's give us a chance to grow up as a county and put some infrastructure so those people who are going to come down and live in this beautiful GL community will not have to come to me later and say, my dad had a heart attack and EMS couldn't get to him. I say, why? You got firefighters right there. The traffic was so bad that they couldn't get to my dad and he's dead. And look at me. So I'm a county commissioner for this reason. I have discretion. I will use it. One day maybe I'll be old enough, so to speak, to have wisdom. But right now I have discretion. So Commissioner Weiss, you go right ahead and speak.
Thank you, Mayor.
Sure.
Very much appreciate it, and thank you for your very impassioned remarks. But I do feel like I want to ask our county attorney, because what's in front of us today is a rezoning. And so I want to ask our county attorney to let us know what the legal requirements, because this is quasi-judicial, it's based on the evidence that's in front of us. And so can you please go through, this is not a land use change where it's our discretion. This is a quasi-judicial matter.
Sure. Yeah, so as opposed to your legislative decisions, when there is quite a bit more discretion, quasi-judicial decisions must be supported by competent substantial evidence, which is a higher threshold for evidence. Before you in particular, there's an official zoning map amendment and a development order amendment, and both of these have particular standards of approval. And I think either the applicant or staff or both had those up there earlier. So based on the evidence that's on the record, if there is competent substantial evidence to support each of those standards, then you would approve the application. And in reverse as well, if there's a determination by the board in their judgment that there is not competent substantial evidence to support any of the standards, then, or one of them at least, then you would deny it. So that's essentially an overview of it.
So just to just delve a little deeper on this, if the evidence, so it has to be presented here in front of us today.
Sure. The record before you is your staff report, evidence, testimony presented on the record, anything introduced, exhibits that may have been introduced. Yeah.
Yep. And so if they meet those standards, and there's not a finding of deficiency on those and that's, I guess, where it's not discretion, but it's actually weighing that evidence based on fact, then you could conceivably, you'll either approve or deny based on those standards alone, and not based on how we think this area should develop or not. And in this case, this came in with a recommendation from our staff that they did meet those and meet those requirements of our code. This land in the development in the Ag Reserve, and we've heard testimony from folks about, the preserved parcels, but they meet the requirements of those preserved parcels to what our code requires, that we have 60% set aside, 40% in that area is allowed for development, and staff has indicated that they have proposed doing that. Is that correct? So I don't see anything that's in front of me at this point, or any substantial evidence. I think we've had a discussion about the preemption that the state has taken as it relates to, we used to have concurrency in this state, and that was removed a few years ago, I guess when you were in the legislature, Mayor. And it's really, unfortunately, and it's really tough to have to explain this to our residents and businesses, that we don't have control over that, specifically in this regard. And so, and I would like to be able to have said we had built these roads in advance. That would be forward-thinking. But I know at times we try and widen roads in advance, and sometimes people think, well, you shouldn't do that. We don't want you to widen the road. And so in some cases, we don't do it. But I agree also with Commissioner Baxter's comments as well, that we really need to try and move these projects much, much faster. And so, but based on everything I've heard today, I will be supporting this item.
Commissioner Woodward.
Thank you, Mayor. And there was a time not too long ago, I wouldn't have thought that I would say thank you to GL. There was a little rocky start that we had, but bringing this project forward to us, you have played by all the rules on this, and part of the problem is the rules. And we are a policy-making board, and when we have projects that are brought to us that we don't like for certain reasons, but they do check all the boxes, they did do everything that was required of them, then we have to ask ourselves some hard questions. But we have to stand by the rules that are put into place. Otherwise, when anyone comes to do any work with us, if we can't stand by our own rules, then we can't have trust with any of the processes moving forward. So when someone brings a project to us and they've done everything that we've asked of them, then, we have to support that. And then, when there's parts of this that, again, we set policy, but we only set a certain amount of policy because there's policy that comes down to us from the state. And this is a particular one, I guess you were a part of it when it was discussed, that has given unintended consequences. I don't believe this was the intention of the state when this was passed, but we are where we are. I have a laminated copy that I keep in my purse with all the red roads countywide. Not one of us is spared from this. All 7 districts have these overcapacity roads. I agree very much. Thank you, Commissioner Baxter, for starting this, and my fellow commissioners. We have work to do, and trying to have this come from developers or even impact fees. I mean, it's kind of we're building more to collect money to build roads, which are going to increase the capacity. Like, we have to answer for the residents that we already have here and find ways to do this. And I think we are moving forward in that regard on how we're going to do it. But when we put rules into place and a project comes to us and they do check the boxes, and it's not that they get to check the box. We have people checking to make sure if they say, yes, we do, they look at it and say, yes, they did. That's why we have staff. It's part of our job too to read this stuff. But again, we have to go by the rules and the policies that we've put forward on this board. And if we find moving forward that those are bad policies, the ones that we can change, we should. And the ones that we can't, then we need to go to Palm Beach County Days next year and start talking, and we'll visit Senator Bernard over there too. But this is a conversation that it should happen. We didn't do this, and I doubt this was the intention in Tallahassee, but it is what it is, and we have to find a way to move forward. And all of our residents countywide need us to do this. So thank you for bringing a project where you did check the boxes. I will be supporting this, but this does not end the discussion we need to have moving forward on traffic.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Bernard.
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. Since we're, before I make my comments, I'd like to kind of like, I want to make the motion to approve item 4A, B, C, and D, subject to the amendments by staff. So that's my motion, and then I'll make a comment.
Thank you. We have a second, a first by Commissioner Bernard, a second by Commissioner Baxter. I'm looking at, saying Commissioner Baxter. We have a couple of seconds. Let me just say this before we take a vote.
Let me 1 second before.
Okay, no, so go ahead.
So, so when we do planning and zoning, we have a discretion in terms of we can make the decision as when we're in planning and zoning. However, for zoning, we've got to meet standards, and we've got to meet standards. The developer's got to meet standards A through H. And in this instance, the developer met all of those standards. And, of course, we don't like the rules. But I was in Tallahassee when the rules were changed. And, some of those, I believe, at that time, DCA was, I just thought that there's some things that they were out of line, and we made some rules in Tallahassee, and I supported some of those rules. But however, as a county commissioner, if the developer met all of their standards, we must support it and vote for it, or otherwise we will get sued, and we don't want to do that. So that's the reason why I support this project, and I will vote for it. And I know Mayor Sachs, of course, there's an issue with Lyons Road and the road construction, but however, in this instance, the developers met all their rules, and we should support something that they've met the rules on. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Did we have a light on over there?
I just wanted to make sure before we get too far into the motion, if the applicant wanted a time for rebuttal. No, okay, thanks. I just had to.
I don't think it's a good idea. Right. We're on the same wavelength. All right, I know we have a first and a second, and we pretty much have a consensus. I just want to say that I do think we have discretion. We have discretion in weighing the evidence. It would be like this. Look, I've been a trial lawyer many, many years, and let me give you an example of discretion that doesn't necessarily check all the boxes. We all know it's theft to go in the Publix and take a loaf of bread and walk out without paying for it. And that's a crime. It's a misdemeanor, punishable by jail. A woman goes in, she takes a loaf of bread, she walks out, and she puts it in her pocket or her purse. She walks out, she does not pay for it. And we see it, it's on video. And the prosecutor looks at this, and this woman is arrested and charged with theft. And the prosecutor looks at it, now checks all the boxes. She went in, did not pay for it, removed an item, didn't belong to her. But the prosecutor always has the discretion to say, why did she steal that loaf of bread? Well, maybe she stole it because when she talks about it when she gave her statement to law enforcement, she had a hungry kid at home. And so even though it checked every box for a misdemeanor, the prosecutor always has a discretion to look at the law, weigh the evidence. I'm just saying, weigh the evidence here. We're going to have 1,140 some units go into an area where the road is already deemed deficient by the expert hired by the applicant. I'm weighing the evidence, and I'm saying, wait a bit, GL. Give it a pause. Just give us time to build the infrastructure. You've got a huge development going on right now on Lyons Road by the high school. I'm just saying, you're a good neighbor. Give us some time to get the infrastructure in place. You don't have to. But my discretion, as someone who was voted on by the people in that area, I'm not going for this. I don't think it's good for the people. And if the state wants to sue me, they know where to find me. So, and I don't think we need the state of Florida to tell us how to run our roads, how to take care of our people, how to make sure that our staff comes to us and says, in our wisdom of looking at in our so many years, I know many of our staff, good staff that we have been here years, you've seen a lot of development, you've seen a lot of issues, you've seen a lot of problems, and we have a problem now with traffic. That you could say, they check all the boxes, however, please use your discretion, because maybe now is not the time to start. So with that, we're going to take a vote unless somebody wants to say anything else. So all those, we have first and a second. All those for? Anybody against? And the mayor is. Okay. See that it passes 6-1. Thank you very much. Now we can move on to the next one. The ULDC revisions 5, flood damage prevention ordinance. Request for permission to advertise.
Yes, Doug Weiss, the building official, will be up here shortly as we do a little shuffle.
Okay. Are you in this one too, Miss Amara?
I'm sorry?
Are you in this one too?
Yeah.
Good for you. Whenever you're ready to start.
I need to be sworn.
Oh, okay.
I came in a little bit late because of traffic.
He says he's all out of his swearing stuff, you know? Don't tell me you were stuck in traffic. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it. How appropriate. But we do need to swear them in again.
This isn't a quasi judicial item, so no swearing in. I mean, if you want me to, I could, but
It feels good, yeah, it feels good to be sworn in, at least once. Okay, go right ahead.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, Vice Mayor.
Do you have your thing on there?
Thank you. Appreciate it. For the record, Doug Wise, Palm Beach County Building Official, Director of the Building Division, and Floodplain Administrator. Have staff with me today. We're going to go over, we have a short PowerPoint we'll go through and present the changes that are proposed for Article 18. The changes that are proposed, Jackie, you want to drive? The changes that are proposed are basically those required. We pared back what we had intended on the drainage stormwater management program. We're going to take another look at that and come back with it later. But we're doing the minimum changes required by Florida Department of Emergency Management to basically stay current in the National Flood Insurance Program with our current CRS rating. So the big part of it, I mean, the bullet point explains all the thing. I don't need to read the slide to you, and I know we've all met and spoke about it. But, you know, in 2020, FEMA issued a policy regarding accessory buildings and agricultural structures. And that has been a big interpretation change that was a shock to all of us. Prior to that point, we had been doing wet flood proofing on a lot of buildings. You want to keep going? You've got some numbers in there. Jackie's got some numbers in there that will talk about how many. Here it is. So the agricultural buildings are not as big a structure, a big a problem as what we might expect. And we're meeting with the Ag Enhancement Council and others to talk about the impacts of that. And they've been notified. But the big issue, go to the next one, accessories. Don't you have accessory numbers here? Yeah, 453 accessories so far this year. So that could theoretically affect a lot of residential accessory structures, storage buildings, garages, anything over 400 square foot, well, over 600 square foot. So anything bigger than a two-car garage that's an accessory would theoretically be regulated. We could no longer wet flood proof. That means we have to raise them, we have to put them on fill. You can't dry flood proof.
Yes.
Residential accessories? Yes. Okay. So you want to?
Sure. So the policy
I know how you
requires, is an interpretation of what was already existing that many communities were not doing because it's legal language that people were interpreting incorrectly. And FEMA recognized that during their community assistance visits that communities were not requiring that these structures be elevated or dry flood-proofed. Wet flood-proofing is only allowed by variance. So FEMA issued this policy to explain to communities that agricultural structures and these accessory structures, non-habitable accessory structures, are non-residential buildings, and they must be elevated or dry flood-proofed.
So let me ask you something on that. So do folks have to do that now to retrofit their barns and accessory buildings, or is that building from now on?
It would be applicable to new construction and substantial
Substantially improved. So if they expand it,
Okay, so any renovations?
say it gets damaged by a tornado and they go to rebuild it,
So this would, okay, all right, so they wouldn't be able to get a permit from the county unless they had that retrofitted to these new standards, or they wouldn't be able to build until they had this retrofitted, unless they had it high up. And what do you call that? You call it flood-proof or?
Dry flood-proofing, right. So
Dry flood-proofing.
Correct. So wet flood-proofing are the flood vents that allows water to go in and out of the building to stabilize or equalize the hydrostatic pressure. Dry flood-proofing prevents the water from going into the building at all. So that would be shields or panels, ceiling to keep the water out. So FEMA's rules are that if it's an agricultural structure or a non-habitable accessory structure, they are supposed to be elevated or dry flood-proofed.
Okay.
There are size limitations that have been implemented by the Florida Building Code that FEMA allows, because FEMA says that as long as it's a one-story structure and it is used solely for parking or storage, and it's smaller than a two-car garage, then you can wet flood-proof without a variance. If that building is larger than 600 square feet, according to the Florida Building Code, or a two-car garage, then they have to get a variance to wet flood-proof. And what the county has done, and a lot of communities have been doing, was allowing wet flood-proofing without the variance.
If I could have Commissioner Baxter recognized, please.
Good morning. Hi. So, in my spare time, I started reading the manual. That was over 400 pages because this is very important to me. It's very important to my district. And, I never came across the word required one time. They have a lot of suggestions. They have a lot of recommendations. They have a lot of, well, you can do this to bring your points to get more points. You can do that to get more points. But in nowhere did it say we're required to do this, not to maintain our insurance, not to keep our insurance, our flood insurance at all. So, there are several things. I think it was the 19 points that we had discussed previously that you had brought up that said, these are the things that we're trying to get at. These are the things we're trying to do. So I'm just wondering, where does this fall in that scale?
So
Whitney, hold on just one. Did you want to say something?
I think what
Go right ahead.
Commissioner Baxter is referring to is the CRS guidelines. This is different than the CRS technical.
I understand, but it does all play together. We are doing this for...
Well, this is actually to keep us compliant with the NFIP, which is
the things
federal.
we're presenting today are intended to maintain compliance with what we're doing currently with the NFIP. With our current CRS, and I use the term CRS, I did say that, because we are currently a CRS-rated 5 community. If we don't do these things, we lose that rating. We could potentially be, what do they call them, D-rated?
So we would be.
I want to be D-rated.
And I just for clarification, the policy for the agricultural structures and accessory structures, that is minimum NFIP standards. So we have to do that. The mobile or the manufactured home elevation that we're changing, that is a CRS change minimum to not be retrograde to a Class 9 with no discounts. So that's the only CRS change that we have presented.
If you don't mind, so are we differentiating between a pole barn that has no walls then as an accessory structure versus something that does have walls? Are we requiring them to put it a lot higher, even though?
So FEMA defines a structure for agricultural purposes as having 2 rigid walls, outside walls, and a fixed roof, excuse me. So if it is a pole barn, a true pole barn where there's no walls, there's no elevation requirement or no flood-proofing requirement because the water goes,
Yeah,
right.
so the answer is it's development under the National Flood Insurance Program, under our ordinance, but it's not a building. So that it does not have to be elevated, does not have to be wet or dry flood proofed. The challenge is when we have pole barns going in, typically there's fill going in because there's stuff going underneath those shelters, and whether that's animals that they want to keep their feet dry. I mean, clearly if it's equestrians and they're putting in a pole barn for shade structure for horses, they don't want them standing in water when it rains.
Right.
And, that's not healthy. So it's all development, but a pole barn is not a building per the definition of the NFIP and does not have to be elevated or dry flood proof. And that's clearly spelled out in the policy, which was attached in your packet.
Correct. I have read it. I just want to put some things on the record so that we're having these conversations. So when people come back and say, hey, what was said about that? I want people to know how we're approaching these. There's a lot of issues going on. There's a lot of problems. Somebody having to pay over $5,000 for engineered flood drainage or whatever you would like to call it is that's a lot for somebody who just wants to put in an accessory structure on their property. You now could have made it go to where we have all these code compliance issues coming up where we don't want to see ugly things from the road, yet we're going to make it extremely expensive for them to put in an accessory structure. So they can hide them and make it pretty. So we have to make up our mind. Do we either want to make it easy for residents to come into these things and take a look at other ways we can approach this? Because some things that are not really adding up. We have recently contracted with an ag attorney, if my fellow commissioners don't know, who worked for the county before, and have started digging into this, and you guys know, with Katie Edwards. And so I would just like to get the Ag Enhancement Council's opinion on this, and I would like to get her opinion, because she is the expert on these sort of things, prior to us making these changes, and then have to come back later and say, hey, we got it wrong this time.
Whitney, did you want to?
Yes.
And then Commissioner Woodward, I know you can be recognized. Go ahead, Whitney.
We have been engaging with Katie, actually, on this topic. We spoke with the Ag Enhancement Council, actually the chairman, and also Ron Rice, who's the executive director. We did speak with them. We are planning to go to the Ag Enhancement Council on November 13th at their meeting. Ron has been great. We've put some information together for him to disperse to all of the ag community. And Katie is also on board for us because of this variance process that our hands are tied, we have to adopt by December 20th, but we are coming back afterwards to try to seek a countywide exception, which Katie will be helping us to move forward. So that will prevent the variance process
Do we have
at
a
all.
zoning meeting prior to December 20th after this?
Yes, we have a zoning commission meeting that we'll be going to, November 3rd, November 2nd, and then we will go to the Ag Enhancement Council on the 13th, and then we plan to come back for adoption of this ordinance on November 21st. That's the schedule right now.
And once we advertise this, how much flexibility do we have? Because this is just permission to advertise.
Right. We basically have, we need to be adopted before December 20th. So if there's one other hearing between November 21st and December 20th, potentially that we could bring it back to for adoption. If there is some, but really, I mean, we don't have any flexibility in making the changes that are recommended at this point, as far as the agricultural structures and having to require the variances.
The accessory structure language is minimum NFIP. It's not CRS. It's not extra points. It is Florida Department of Emergency Management rejected our current ordinance, said we had to implement this variance process. They don't want administrative stuff unless you have a community-wide exception. We're happy, and we started down this road. Katie and I were working on this in 2020 when this thing was first released, and we've already spoken about it. She's on board, she agrees. The thing, we can't change it. What we have to do is support how to get a community-wide exception. But the first thing we have to do is adopt the updated ordinance per Florida Department of Emergency Management, or we won't get certified.
So because this is just permission to advertise, I mean, I will make the motion to go ahead, to approve permission to advertise. I just want to be very clear, this is a subject that's caused a lot of grief for my residents, and a topic that is causing a lot of them to pay tons and tons of money. And I think there's been some misconceptions spread around. So thank you for your hard work.
Yeah.
I
Commissioner
don't need
Woodward.
the rest of the presentation unless somebody else would like it.
Commissioner Woodward is recognized.
Yes, I did have a question for my own clarification. There were two separate items that were part of this. One would be the required changes for us to be compliant with FEMA's National Flood Insurance Program. But that one, if we're required to do this, and we'd have to do the variances that you had told me about, but then you were going to work towards community-wide exception after, because we have to do this by December 20th, but that doesn't mean once we do this that we wouldn't then be moving towards the community-wide exception, right?
We're working with the Ag Enhancement Council to come up with, the arguments we need to put together for FEMA, because we've got to apply to Region 4. Assuming the commission directs us to do so, which I'm expecting you guys will, we're going to go forth and present that.
So
But
this
we
is-
need to get the ammo, get our ducks in a row. How much money is agriculture? What's the geography that's unique? There's a whole bunch of technical things we got to put together in that case argument. And the bad part of it is, we discussed, nobody's ever done it. In all of Region 4 FEMA, nobody's ever got this waiver. They wrote this policy, in 2020, and there's nobody in Region 4.
But
in,
have
what,
we
5
had
states?
these, excuse me, Commissioner, have we had these issues, severe issues of flooding before this period of time? I don't think so.
Well, since 2013, when I got here, we've had community assistance visits from Florida Department of Emergency Management on behalf of FEMA.
Right.
And one of the first things they came out was the acreage. They were talking about accessory buildings not being elevated. So the FDEM was like giving us a hard time. You're not requiring people to elevate. So they were giving us a hard time on that back in 2013. And the point was, we said, no, they can be lower, but then we started doing wet flood proofing. And then the 2020, fast forward, we get the new memo, says we can't wet flood proof anymore. So it's like a moving target. I think all of you know I have no love lost for FEMA, because they're making my life miserable. I'd rather not do all this stuff. But the reality is, if we want to have flood insurance and we want to get the discounts, we want to protect our residents, we have to do this.
Commissioner Woodward,
Okay,
I'm sorry,
just,
go ahead.
yeah, thank you. So I was just wanting to make sure, I mean, we're being required to do this so that countywide we stay in compliance, right? This wouldn't just affect everyone. If we were to lose our compliance with the flood insurance, is it by small areas, or does this affect all of our residents?
It's an overall flood insurance requirement. If you want to have national flood insurance program, you got to do the minimum requirements.
Okay, so this would be
but
a
it's
minimum
only
requirement,
unincorporated.
but it doesn't stop us from finding a path for these accessory structures that, would
No,
be.
that won't stop us. We will have to go forward with the exception request and try it, or the other thing, we talked about a couple of methods to do that. Limit them, tell people don't make them bigger than 600 square feet at this point. I think a 2-car detached garage is probably reasonable, then you don't have to elevate it, and you can wet flood proof it.
So we're going to be able to give them options, but still continue to work towards, if they want to build larger ones, either the community-wide exception, or we can grant a variance still, or we cannot.
So we can, based on the size limitations that we are adopting from the Florida Building Code, they can go up to 1,200 square feet with a variance. So if it's between 600 and 1,200 square feet, they can go before the Flood Damage Prevention Board to get a variance to wet flood proof. If it's greater than 1,200 square feet, then it's elevate or dry flood proof.
Okay. And this, again, you mentioned the animals and stuff. This would be for storage of equipment, not livestock or horses or
Well, storage, parking, and building access, and so if it was a residential accessory, say a 4-stall horse barn or something, then that, that could fall under that if the square footage works. But we can do the variances.
Okay.
But the variances each one has to be heard by the Flood Damage Prevention Board, which meets monthly. It's the Construction Board of Adjustments and Appeals also serves as the Flood Damage Prevention Board.
And this is a separate item from the CRS, which is the discounts.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, there is one item that is CRS, that's the manufactured homes.
I would like to hear the rest of that part of the presentation, if that's okay.
Oh, no, we're going to hear this. I'd like to hear the presentation. Yeah, Commissioner Baxter and then Commissioner Weiss.
Thank you. I did have one last question I forgot to ask. So when I was reading even the CRS manual, and why are we including, because they don't include, why are we including floodplain X?
In 2004, the leadership of Palm Beach County elected to proclaim areas of the county outside engineered subdivisions like the ones that Kevin and company just left that they build with stormwater. I think Scott can tell you they control their stormwater to a 100-year level. At that time, the leadership decided those areas will be 18 inches above the crown of the road, all enclosed buildings.
When you say leadership, you mean the previous county commission?
The county commission and the ordinance, the flood damage prevention ordinance
So this was a county commission decision, not a NFIP or CRS decision?
That is a local standard because it's so flat here, they did that in the day. They did it since 1954, they had the 18 inch. 57, sorry, thank you. They had the 18 inches above the crown of the road, but in 2004, they put it in Article 18, which was the flood damage prevention ordinance when they first joined the NFIP.
And it's my understanding that other counties around us are not doing floodplain X, so it is specific to us.
I think you'll find almost every jurisdiction has a minimum above road crown elevation anywhere in Florida.
No, exactly, but what I'm saying is the requirements we're discussing for this, we are including a whole nother zone of floodplain zones because we have A and E and.
I think you'll find Pinellas County has proclaimed the whole county is a floodplain, and that's part of what happened here. And we basically, and I'm saying we, the county.
We're talking for the purposes here of accessory structures, let's be clear. We're not talking homes.
I understand. What I'm saying is enclosed buildings is the way it's described. Roof and 2 walls. So they use the FEMA definition of a building, an enclosed building, and they say that anything that's built had to be 18 inches above the crown of the road since 1957. 2004, it was moved into the flood damage prevention ordinance, but it's been there. They exempts things like Valencia, Grand Valencia, whatever it is.
Not to belabor this, and I'll let you finish your presentation, but when you come back to us, if you could bring us that information on if the board looked at it and wanted to make any changes to that floodplain X, I would appreciate it.
I mean, I would like to just chime in here. If you look at numbers, and we'll bring the numbers to you, there is a large percentage of flooding in flood zone X because water does not know what FEMA has declared it to be. So they have to pay a large amount of money of claims. The last I looked, I think it was 40% of the claims that come in are flood zone X. So this is a resilience thing. This is not meant to harm the community, the 18 inches above the road crown. It's to help protect their property from flood damage.
We're also discussing accessory structures, not homes.
And that,
So if
and
somebody says, hey, I can't build this 18 inches above and still afford to do all these extra requirements, but I can do it, we are adding thousands and thousands of dollars to people's ability to do this. And it's not a requirement.
it has been a requirement since 2004.
Because of the board, I mean it, not a national requirement, and it has been presented. So either, I'm going to digress. This is permission advertised. We'll come back.
Right.
We'll get the information.
I would suggest, since I saw your area yesterday, that this is an important issue for you in your area, that maybe a site visit by our staff with you would be very helpful, like CFO Petronas did with his people, because I think it affects mostly your area with the accessory structures and with the rebuilding. It's going to be very, very expensive, but they do need flood insurance. So I would suggest, most respectfully, that possibly a site visit by some of our staff with the commissioner in that area, maybe a meeting or something to help the folks understand what's going to happen, because it's going to be it's big. It's big. It's big.
No doubt. And look, we can do whatever the commission directs us to do that is not minimum NFIP, and we'll point out what that is. But
Okay. All right. Go right ahead, sir. Continue.
Jackie, you want to keep going?
Yes, I know Commissioner Woodard was interested in the manufactured home part of it. Come back to that? We can, yes. We'll talk about the other is the coastal. We have new coastal maps, and there are new coastal hazards that have been introduced. One of those is the limit of moderate wave action that was not previously shown on our maps. The other are coastal A zones. That's the area that is between the limit of moderate wave action and the actual ocean itself. Those areas are subject to 1.5 to 3 feet of wave action. And so we will be adopting coastal high hazard or V-zone construction standards, design and construction standards for those areas to protect the foundations and from damage from wave action. And so that would be the last one. For Commissioner Woodward, we have the size limitations. This is the only one that says CRS to avoid retrograde. In 2021, January of 2021, NFIP CRS program issued a addendum to the CRS manual that changed the elevation requirements for manufactured homes. So that would be new and replaced. Manufactured homes would need to be elevated 1 foot above the base flood elevation, the bottom of the, and so we had to change our, in order to avoid retrograde to a class 9 with no discounts and maintain our current class 5 status, we have to change the ordinance to update the foundation requirements and the elevation requirements according to the CRS addendum from 2021. So that would be the only CRS item in this particular changes that we're doing. The additional CRS items that we talked about before will come back later. These are just the minimum that we need to do by December 20th, not so that we don't lose our NFIP status or our CRS classification. Any questions?
Okay, then, since the mayor has left the dais, anybody have any more questions? So I guess we had a motion and a second. Do we have a second? We have a motion from Commissioner Baxter, a second from Commissioner Weiss. All in favor? Anyone opposed? See, the motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Oh, hold on. Oh, I made a total error. We have 2 cards.
Oh.
We have 2 cards. Yep, no problem. So,
Alex Larson?
Should we carry a flag?
We're doing cards.
My main concern, right, this really is affecting me right next door to me. A guy is building a giant shed, and they're putting it 14 feet in the air. It's bigger than his house. It's bigger than his ugly house, the shed. Then he's got 2 container trucks sitting on the property also that are about 53 feet long. So are they going to float away? Because I thought about Milton. You know, I saw the Tinker Toys and the Matchbox cars up on North Lake Boulevard, and by the grace of God, our area did not have the Tinker Toys and stuff. But right down the street on Okeechobee, there was a lot of damage. A house I really admire. It's on 5 acres, a little tiny house, huge tree. What a mess, you know? I mean, this just what happened. And this is our future, commissioners. This is my problem. Because you said you got here in 2013, gentlemen, and I don't know your name, but in 2012, we had a lot of water. We were stuck in our houses for 7 days. You could go out in a canoe. You could not go out in your vehicle. And it did not touch our houses. It didn't come up into the house, but we were sitting in lakes, you know. And the way I got drained, my neighbor brought in pumps and drained us, not the South Florida Water Management District, not Indian Trail Improvement District, because it was funny, 1957 must have been a banner year in Palm Beach County, because we got the 298 special districts, and we got all these other things going on. So I guess 57 was good for us, but with the flood insurance, I'm hearing huge numbers, commissioners. It used to be about $250 to put flood insurance on your house. This is back in early 90s and stuff. Now, they're just taking advantage of this. It's another brick in the coffin of the taxpayers, the things they can't afford. Because if you have a mortgage, then they're saying, well, you have to have flood insurance. So one thing you could do in the legislature maybe is say, well, guess what? The banks can't say it's mandatory anymore. It's your choice whether you have this insurance or that insurance, because if you don't have a mortgage, you don't have to have insurance. But if you're under the guise of a mortgage broker, a mortgage house, and you have a mortgage, they demand that you have certain things. And it makes it very difficult for the taxpayers. And I will continue to say that every time I come up here. We're drowning. And in this particular instance, we really are drowning, because they're making rules that people can't attain. We can't get there anymore. And that's everybody who calls my house. I can swear to that, commissioners. I swear to God. I was so glad you brought up about prosecutors. I loved it, because I do love the law. But it is tough, and it's very tough for your constituents out there. I think they're afraid to call you. I don't know. I'm more approachable. But I tell them, call the commissioners. They won't bite you. They really won't. And it's just, please, when it comes to these FEMA things, try to help us as much as possible, because our county, just give me one more second, commissioners. Our county was just put on a set of insurance that they said we would be the biggest disaster. Palm Beach County alone would be the biggest disaster in the state of Florida. And I don't know if you talked to the insurance brokers, but please go out there and do so, because they said we will be the biggest and the most expensive, just Palm Beach County. So please take that into consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Larson.
Drew?
Drew Martin, thank you for allowing me to speak.
Of course.
I'm here on behalf of the Sierra Club. I just want to start by thanking Mayor Sachs for a very inspiring speech. It reminds me of the John F. Kennedy's Profiles in Courage, because I thought you took the courageous view, and I think that's great. I just want to say for a second that, people got up here today, said, well, these are the rules. Well, the EPA has rules too, but yesterday you said, we don't want to follow those rules. FEMA has rules, and some of you are saying, well, you don't want to follow FEMA's rules. So I think you need to be consistent. Either follow the rules or don't follow the rules. If every vote is based on the rules, then follow the rules. If every vote is based on your personal integrity and your life experience, then you have to do it that way. Now, as far as FEMA goes, I was on the Soil and Water Board, but I'm not an expert. I'm not a flood expert. I know it's expensive for people to comply, but the question is compliance benefiting those people? And that's what you have to think about. Is it to their benefit if they comply that they're not going to lose livestock, they're not going to lose property, they're not going to have property damage? If there's no benefit in compliance, it's just to be done because it's a rule, then I don't see any point in it. So it has to be to the benefit of either the general public or the individual. The problem we know right now is that the only person who really can determine what a floodplain is the God Almighty, okay? I mean, we can write the law and says, we don't think this is a floodplain, we think this isn't a floodplain, but you know what, we're not gonna make that decision. And their lives can be lost if the decision's done as we see in North Carolina. So I think it's important that you get this right. And again, I'm not an expert, but my feeling is it shouldn't be based on the rules just for the sake of rules. It should be based on what's the right thing to do. So again, I want to just thank Mayor Sachs. You're an inspiration to me, and I will sleep better tonight having heard your inspiring words. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Drew. Okay, are we ready to, I think staff is finished with your report?
We're already done.
And have we already taken a vote?
We did?
I should get coffee more often. So it's passed.
Yes.
Passed, right? And the clerk has it all. I think, all right, so, County Attorney, do you have any statements or comments?
No comments, Mayor.
Okay, very good. Planning Director.
Planning Director.
No comments from Brian back there.
Okay. Good. Zoning Director.
I would like to say thank you for seeing you all this morning, and extra special thanks for Commissioner Bernard. 8 years, and this is goodbye till you go off on your new venture. But thank you very much for many, many years of professionalism at the planning and zoning meetings. Thank you.
Very nice. Executive Director.
Actually, that was the same sentiment that I had. To wish Commissioner, now Senator Bernard, a fond farewell. We've really appreciated all of your support and professionalism. You've definitely been the voice of reason many times. It's been really great to see some of the problem solving you've done right from the dais. It's been great. And some of the projects that have been highs and lows. So appreciate all of your time here with us. Thank you.
Very nice, thank you. Deputy County Administrator. I think we have the County Administrator with us today. It's impressive. Thank you.
No comments. We'll have some other comments for Senator-elect on next Tuesday.
You will be here, won't you, Commissioner?
We'll be here.
Very, very good, okay. And we'll start with Commissioner Barnett for any comments.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few updates. We had a very well-attended and successful condo forum at Lake Clark Gardens in my district a few weeks ago. Thank you to Television 20 from Palm Beach County for filming it and taping so many of the residents who showed up, who gave their stories about how they're dealing with the skyrocketing condo fees they're dealing with. We're going to have another residents-only condo forum at Lakeside Village on October 28th in Palm Springs. And it's very important that we allow these residents who are very concerned to voice their opinions and their concerns, not just to me and to the county, but also to our representatives in Tallahassee, who ultimately bear the responsibility of fixing this crisis. I had the opportunity to attend an infrastructure forum at Florida Atlantic University last night. I neglected to give David Ricks a shout out. He was also there in attendance. I had the opportunity to introduce FDOT Secretary Jared Perdue and the District 4 Secretary Steve Braun, who have both been very helpful to me in certain projects in my district that my residents have been crying out for a while. Wanted to thank them publicly for their support. Also, Whitney, thank you again for hosting that meeting upstairs with the property manager and the attorney for Casa del Monte and PBSO and your staff and the District 3 staff. I always talk to people about how we get problems resolved by just sitting down and working it out together, creating a meeting of the minds and an understanding of the problem and how to solve it moving forward. So thank you for that. I think that we made a lot of great progress for the residents in that community who are in great need of not just food services, but also help from a lot of the criminal elements that are making their nest in that community. I think we've made a lot of progress towards saving that community. Thank you. And Commissioner Bernard, Senator Bernard, we share initials. We share a birth date. We do not share college football. And I'm wishing you the best after this Saturday. Don't take it too bad what we're going to do to your team. Go Canes.
Challenge. The challenge is on. Commissioner Woodward. Commissioner Weiss?
No comment.
Wow.
I don't know, Commissioner Bernard. Sort of a challenge here. Any statements, any comments by you, sir?
Yes, thank you very much, Madam Mayor. First of all, I'd like to appoint Hillary Vativia to the Educational Facilities Authority. Okay, so.
Yep.
All right, second thing is yesterday I was a judge at a debate at Palm Beach State College where the students were debating the pros and cons of artificial intelligence. And so it was great to hear both sides of AI. And Commissioner Weiss, you would have been just proud to hear both the pros and cons. And the 3 students that came in first, second, and third, they're going to go and compete, I believe, in St. Pete. And so I think Giovanni came in first, Isabella was in second, and Lewis came in third. And so that was really great. And as this is my last planning and zoning meeting, just want to thank Brian, Lisa, Whitney, the whole team. A lot of times we vote on these consent agenda items and, the public just sees it like it's just a consent item, but there's a lot of work that goes into, the staff report and the work. And I know that the dedication to the residents of Palm Beach County that the entire staff have put into the work. So thank you to the entire staff that works on these planning and zoning. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Commissioner Baxter?
I just want to say thank you to everyone. It's been fun. I'll keep it short. Have a great day.
And Vice Mayor?
None at this time.
Thank you. Oh, and from the mayor, I think that it's been such a pleasure to have you here, Commissioner. I can still call you Commissioner for a little bit, Bernard, because these issues of zoning are complex. And you have been able to see them with a very good eye that would take care of the entire people of the entire county. I thank you for your service here. And with that, if there's no other business before the board, we are go Canes, right? We are going to adjourn. Thank you very much. Thank you. Got my nuts.
Welcome to Inside PBC, where we highlight what's going on inside Palm Beach County. Did you know Palm Beach County has a thrift store made up of surplus government property? For the last 30 years, it's served South Florida. So maybe you're looking for a second car or truck, office equipment, electronics, or a specialty vehicle. The next auction is November 2nd. And Palm Beach County voters can meet, pet, and play with dogs up for adoption from the Animal Care and Control Division while participating in early voting. Starting the 25th through November 3rd, the West Jupiter Community Center will host Paws to the Polls for Palm Beach County pups. And Lagoon Fest 2024 will be held along the West Palm Beach waterfront on Flagler Drive. The free family event runs from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. on November 2nd. Face painting, lawn games, kayak tours, interactive animal touch tanks, and a live bird release. For all this and more, visit our website at pbcgov.com. When the decision is made and local leaders put evacuation orders in place, the time to put your plan into action. So get your geese in a gaggle, or herd your cats, or if you're from South Florida, maybe gather your flamingos. But if you need to go to the emergency shelter, here's what you need to remember. Each person gets assigned a 4 by 5 foot space. 5 feet by 4 feet, so for a family of 2, you'll get a 40-foot area. A family of 3 will get a 60-foot area, and a family of 4 will get an 80-foot area, and so on. You get the idea. Pack your bedding, your blankets, pillows, medications, bottled water, non-perishable food, clothing, personal hygiene items. You get it, enough stuff to take care of your family's needs for 2 or 3 days.
Be ready, be informed. Visit readypbc.com.
That we are able to provide housing for families. God, we know that we're in a tough season, that the homeless rate, families that are looking and striving to find housing, we ask that you would give us the mind and the resources to provide those resources for these families. We thank you for Berkeley's Landing here in Riviera Beach, that we were able to provide or meet the needs of the families here to provide that affordable housing. Thank you for everybody that played a hand in it, from city to county to state to federal. It took everybody coming together. So we thank you for this glorious day that we're doing a ribbon breaking. And all the honor and the glory goes to you. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Mr. Farrar. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll even keep the introduction of our first speaker very short, but he has been a true leader in fostering this public-private partnership that's come together, $40 million of investment here on the Broadway corridor in Riviera Beach. And we started this process back in 2020 and 2021. And the leadership of the city has been paramount here in supporting this endeavor. So without any further ado, I give you Jonathan Evans, City Manager for the City of Riviera Beach.
Good morning, and thank you all for the opportunity to be here with you. If there is a baby's voice in the background, I'm the guy that brought the baby. Today is my wife's birthday, so she had to go run out and do some things, so I got stuck with the baby. But we're here to talk about something that is fundamental to the way in which we need to look at our communities. And I have to say, you know, in the mayor's invocation concerning the partnerships with all levels of government, thank you to the leadership at the county level, county administrator, as well as Commissioner Bernard. These projects don't happen if you don't have leadership at the highest levels of government. Senator Powell, your advocacy, the mayor, city council, thank you for moving forward with the concept. We had 2 proposals